Holy trail disaster. A big storm had come through here and knocked down half the trail. Thought I'd share a few trail cleaning tips with you. Tip number 1. Be practical about how much time you have to work on the trail and divide it up into sections that you can work with. After a long day of work, I was only able to clear maybe 300-400 meters of trail. So use your time wisely and don't bite off more than you can chew. Try to recruit some friends to help you with the trail cleaning. Things will go exponentially faster when there's more hands to help out. I'm thinking it might be a good idea to leave a few trees down on the trail, as this is where the quads have been entering the trail. On the other hand, it seriously ruins a great section of downhill where you don't have to pedal. It's a good idea to walk the trail first, clear any overhanging branches that might whack you in the helmet as you pass by. Sometimes you don't see these objects when you're cruising on the bike. Also, be conscious of where that limb might be next year, and if it's going to be a problem, it might just be a good idea to remove it this year. That's right, kick those derailleur destroyers off the trail. A quality pruning saw and a rake are my two favorite trail building tools. The pruning saw will make short work of any saplings and some small trees, and doesn't take up a lot of room in your pack. When clearing trees from across the trail, make 2 cuts and try to leave at least 2 or 3 feet on each side of the trail, so that's clear, just in case someone were at the bail or took a corner a little bit too wide. Here's a close-up of the pruning saw blade I'm using. Always use a saw designed for cutting wood. Here's another tip. If the bugs get too bad or you're starting to get down, take a break. Do something relaxing. After an entire day of trail clearing with a pruning saw, I decided that we needed to recruit someone else. So I've got my dad further up the trail with the chainsaw. In case you didn't notice, that was a 180 rake flip. I figure it's some sort of heavy snowstorm that we had over the winter that caused all of the smaller trees to just get crushed. Like if you look around off the trail at the devastation. Well, this looks like the spot that my dad dragged the chainsaw up to. Time to start clearing. The fun part. Actually, I think chainsawing is the fun part. With a two-man team, things will go a lot quicker. The first person leads and cuts the logs into smaller, more manageable pieces that make it easy to throw them aside. And that's what the second person is doing, or me. I'm clearing the trail of all the debris. Pro tip, wear work gloves, not your good riding gloves. The chainsaw is pretty loud and obnoxious, but it would have taken 10 men 10 weeks to cut all of these logs with a pruning saw.
Making pretty good time. Hey, you're making pretty good time.
The quads have made it through this section of trail and have turned a single track into a double track in a lot of sections. So part of what I'm doing here is trying to reclaim the single track by either raking debris or covering offshoots of the original trail with trees, branches. Nothing against quads or the people that ride them. I just think that they're pretty destructive to a landscape like this, and they do pose a slight fire hazard, and that's why I think they should be out of these trails and perhaps somewhere else. I'm not sure why, but in my head, the single track trails are just more natural. In fact, these trails weren't designed. 40 years ago, they followed natural animal trails through the forest. And that's why I'd like to just keep them the way they were originally. But of course, now be able to ride a mountain bike. The animals, like the deer and the wolves, had already found the natural flow through the forest, and I think it's cool that we can just follow that.
Single track.
And there we go, single track restored. Sometimes it's obvious where the trail is going. Other times when you're cruising at high speed, you might not catch this change in direction right here. Another trail is forked off to the right. I don't want to go that way, I want to go this way. I'm going to start raking these areas of the trail first where there might be some question of the change of direction. I don't have the time to rake the entire trail, so I have to prioritize some areas. Next, I'll be looking for areas of the trail that are robbing speed, like corners full of pine needles or areas that should flow really quickly, but there's just too much debris on the trail to get up to speed. We're just going to block another section of the trail where the quad has shortcutted the natural trail. Way more fun with the twisty turns. And we're just checking for the flow of this corner. Want to leave enough space to get it nice and wide, but make it obvious that you're not going through the other route. Once again, single track restored. I decided to rake out this section of the trail just because it was a little bit steeper. It flowed really nicely, and I thought it would be even better if you could pick up a little more speed and have a little more traction in the corners. Couple tips for raking here. Every corner is a berm. change directions to the outside, pile all the debris to the outside corner. Over time, enough material is going to accumulate and you'll have nice flowy turns on your trail. I'm just going to use the pruning feature on my rake here. Another tip here, raking is hard on your back. I don't know if it's news to you, but anyhow, stand up straight, take short strokes with the rake. Going to rake around these features like rocks. I'm not going to pull them from the trail because, where people might see rocks, I see, 3 little launch pads there that go into a berm just around the corner here. So I'm just going to clear them off, make it obvious where they are. Just pulling all these pine needles and bark, pine cones and branches to the outsides of the corners here. Make it nice and wide, make it obvious there's a turn between these 2 trees. After a whole weekend of trail clearing, we really only got a few K of trail cleared, but this is the fun part. There's still tons of work to do, refining this trail, raking some more corners, and finding the more flowy parts, but I think we're doing pretty good so far. This is one of the rake sections that we did. You can just see the speed picking up so easily. You can see the double track cleared up here. And then right into another raked section here. It's obvious we go right here and not left. leave these trees here down so that the quads can't get past? What do you guys think?